It's time to stop copying someone else's morning routine, someone else's nighttime routine, and create your own. But how do you really build a routine that will actually change your life that is not meant for someone else's? And how do you stick with that? How do you get over the feeling of needing to find perfection in that routine every single day? I've tried so many different routines over the past years of really getting serious about leveling up my life. Routines for better fitness, productivity, skincare, mindset, and of course, keeping the household running smoothly. Not to mention structuring my day with a little one to care for. I have finally figured out what it takes for me to build a routine that generates sustainable success and fulfillment in my life. And that, ladies, is the key. It's not the routine, but knowing how to build one that suits you and your unique life circumstances. And that is what this video is all about. So let's go through that today. By the end of this video, you should have a really clear idea of how to go about building your own routine. And I think you could probably even do it while you're watching this video. So get out a piece of paper, get out your notebook, get out your Notion, whatever that might be that you like to take notes with, and let's get started. Now, I'm going to tell you that this is the perfect time of year to be doing this because my approach has been that you want to be able to spend some time testing out different things. Here's why. So for me, I tried to structure my day around what I thought worked for me, especially in other seasons of life, and that changes, and you need to test out some different things, especially if you are gathering so much information from other people online about their routines, about maybe their morning routines, their fitness routines, anything like that. You're gathering so much of their information, but it may not necessarily work for you. You want to look at someone who is sort of where you want to be or in the same general stage of life that you are, and try and take some things that you feel really aligned with from their suggestions or what they have said works for them, and you want to test it out because everyone is so unique. We all have different goals, and you really want to be able to find something that works for you. That may not necessarily be what works for someone else. We get frustrated when we are not successful with that same routine, and therefore that destroys our momentum to move forward. So I wanted to say that first, and especially, let me talk to the mamas here, especially if you are in that season of new motherhood or about to be there. I made the mistake of thinking that I could create a very regimented day for myself in early motherhood. And that is just so difficult. You will find, even if you have the daycare structure in your life where you've got to drop off at a certain time and pick up at a certain time every day, you will find that things will come out of the blue and they're unexpected. They might be your child gets sick or something happens that you just can't control. It happens all of the time, and so we have to set expectations around the stage of life that we're in. If you're a student, for example, you're going to have the temptations of all of the social activities going on, and I think what it really comes down to is the discipline in building a routine and being able to have discipline, but be flexible enough that you're not going to let that flexibility derail you completely from your plans. And you're just going to look at it as every single step that you take, you are going to note and reflect on what works, what doesn't work. And then the next cycle of that routine, the next day, the next week, whatever it is, the next month, you are going to reset and try the things that you learned and go from there. It's very important, and it's okay to make discoveries and go through this process. Leveling up and changing your life is a process. It's not something that just clicks for a lot of people and happens overnight, although we get that idea from seeing so many people on social media, right? Now let's get started with building your routine. The first thing that I always do when I build a routine for myself is I look at what are my set appointments, what are my set hours where I have to show up. Otherwise, there's a huge consequence if I don't, or if I don't do something, there's a huge consequence. These are the set things that you are going to plan your day around. I even like to put in things like eating meals and anything basically that's important to you and is a priority for your day. Now, the next thing that I will do from there is I will think about what are the habits that I want to add to my day and what are the habits that I want to take away from my day. A lot of times we are looking at all of these things at once, but it can be really helpful to just sit down and write them out and make a list of them. You can definitely make a list and acknowledge that you have these habits that you want to add in and that you want to take away, but that doesn't mean that you have a plan for how you're going to do that, if you know what I mean. Just making the decision that, hey, I want to start working out at 7 a.m. in the morning, or I don't want to have that chocolate at the end of the night every single night. that doesn't mean that you have a plan for taking that out of your day or adding that to your day, if you know what I mean. Something really important to think about that I don't see mentioned a lot is structuring your day according to your energy levels. For me, this is something that I have a hard time with, especially being married, because my husband and I have to work out our routines and schedules together, having a child to care for and everything. But this is going to change your life if you can get this right. And there are, of course, a lot of things that you can do in order to get those energy levels that you need to fit into any of your responsibilities. I have another video I'm going to be sharing about that, like how you can get better sleep and boost your energy and things like that. But in general, I think this is such an important thing to be aware of, just your natural energy levels, because then you can work on habits and things like that if you need to during certain seasons of life. There are going to be just some times where during the year you've got to adjust no matter what to a schedule, and that may not fit your energy levels naturally, and it is possible to change your habits around for that. But if you have the ability to kind of choose when you are working on things and when you are resting, and that's the ideal situation, right? I think you should take full advantage of it. Okay, so with all of that in mind, you're going to build a routine. What I like to do for this is I like to either do this in my Notion, and I like to write out kind of what I showed in some past videos. I like to write out my time block schedule, and then I will go and I will put things into my actual calendar, whatever calendar that is that you're using, whether it's your iCalendar, it's your Google Calendar, your planner, whatever that is, you want to write it all out. I find that having it just in a visual place where you can look at it and refer back to it helps you so much with the adjustment of adding in something new or starting something that is a little bit different from what you're used to. It just further promotes that discipline that this is something you're serious about and you're willing to stick to it. If you are using my 30-day level up plan with the Notion template especially, I think that is such a compliment to setting up a new routine for yourself. I'll include the video for you as a link in the description below, but essentially I go through how to strategize when you are doing something new and you have a goal to get to, and then iterating on that. Like the way that I approach things is not an all or nothing mentality. I like to take a big goal, and this is from my days as a project manager. I like to take a big goal and break it down into little pieces that are achievable and that build momentum. Also, I like to think about any risks or anything that might come up and sabotage that goal or that plan and be aware of those. But every week there's a reflection time that you should be doing, and look at your routines and see, okay, what worked for me this week, what didn't, what do I need to change for the next week, and just iterate every single week. It does not have to be something that, you give up on if you can't stick with it for a few days. Just take some notes, learn from it, and keep going. Here are some final thoughts for you as you're building those routines and as you're testing things out especially. You will have to make sacrifices in order to be disciplined, in order to build these routines and find things that really work for you. And I think that unfortunately, a lot of women out there promote this idea that we can have it all at all times. And I think that there is probably, a stage in life or a level in life where we can feel like, okay, I'm looking around and I have it all right now. And I'm here to tell you though that that is not always the case, especially when you're going through times of building your life and changing your life, okay? Change means that you will have to leave some things behind that no longer serve you as that new person that you were trying to become. And you will have to make some sacrifices in order to do that. You will have to sacrifice some things that you enjoy, and you will also probably sacrifice some things that maybe you don't really enjoy but are just bad habits that you need to let go by the wayside. When I think of building discipline, it just means that you show up, you keep showing up no matter what your feelings are that day, no matter what has happened, you keep showing up for what you know you deserve and what you want to see change. You will become that person through discipline and making sacrifices in that area of your time, and putting your time into the right things that are going to move you forward. Related to this area of sacrifice, a little on the flip side is that I have always made lists of things that I am not willing to sacrifice in order to get to a goal. You know, so for me, that looks like I'm not willing to sacrifice my daughter's well-being and my time investing in her in order to reach a goal. I'm not willing to sacrifice going into debt, like my personal finances. I'm not willing to sacrifice that in order to get to a big goal. And so I think that, you know, these are things that we should really consider as far as making it clear, like what we should sacrifice and what we shouldn't, because then you are living in your integrity, you're living your authentic level up journey and not necessarily someone else's. I think these days it is so sad when I see so many of us out there sacrificing things that are our important values and that lead to an elegant life just for the sake of getting to the top of where we want to get faster. You know, I've seen people do that, and I think those are the people who often come tumbling down because the foundation that they've built their life on is really shaky when they don't have their integrity anymore. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind as well. I have that list. I keep that list in my journal actually when I'm journaling through the things that I hope to see happen in the year. So that's a really good exercise and I highly recommend it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love seeing women leveling up their lives in a sustainable way, in a way that just is authentic and that really gets them somewhere and that really inspires and creates momentum and change in their lives towards better things. I love it when you leave comments for me and I read every single one. I try to respond to as many as possible, but I love hearing where you are in your level up journey, where you are with life. I love your questions and hearing just the things even that you're struggling with. And so there's been so much encouragement in the comment sections on my videos, and that's why I'm encouraged to keep showing up and sharing my journey with you. You know, all of this is from my personal experience and things that, you know, over the past 3 years I have seen change and things I've learned from and been encouraged by and struggled with. And so this is a really special place to me. So thank you for being a part of it. If you have not yet seen one of these videos that I mentioned, I think that they will help you out a lot if you are working towards making some real change and leveling up your life. I'll see you there. Until next time, bye.